Welcome back to my channel, and today I will show you guys how to model a Chinese pagoda. Okay, so we'll be talking about a few techniques like using mesh to generate a repetitive tile on the roofs, and some other techniques that are useful like radial symmetry and extrusion from a curve. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So let me make a new scene. Okay, I'm going to switch to my 4 views. Let me hide this poly count, and I'm going to go to my view, image plane, import image on my front view, paste the link, and let me see where okay, so this is my reference that I will be using, and I can adjust it outside my grid, scale it up, okay, and from here I can add a layer and make sure that it's on reference mode so that I can't select it. Okay. So from here I will start with a simple plane. Okay, I'm going to scale it up just like that, maybe a little bit over here. Go to my excuse me, go to my inputs polyplane, and I'm going to give a subdivision of 15 by 50. That would be okay. Let's do it 20 by 20. Okay, and I'm going to delete history. I'm going to go to my deform, non-linear, and I'm going to bend this one. Press E for rotation and J to snap by 15 degrees increment. I'm going to go to my attribute editor, play around with my curve so it's not bending properly, so I'm going to rotate it again like this. Okay, just enough, maybe 45 degrees. Okay, 45 would be okay, and I'm liking that one, so I'm gonna select my mesh, delete history, and from here I can rotate it maybe like this. Okay, I think that is okay, and I'm gonna move it a little bit to the front. Okay, and from here I'm going to press a D and press X to snap it to the grid. Okay, press back D to go back to your transform gizmo. Okay, so this is looking good, and let me save this file just in case, because I don't want it to crash. So I'm just gonna name it Chinese Pagoda Tutorial 01. Okay, so we have that. Now once I got the form, now I can use another type of deformer, non-linear. I can you know what, instead of using a non-linear, let me use a lattice. Okay, Control Z, that one. Let me modify freeze transformation, reset transformation. Okay, and now I can go to deform, go to lattice, and I have a better looking lattice. Let me switch the T divisions to 2 and the S divisions to, say, I think I'll just stay with 2. Okay, and I'm going to right click, go to lattice point, select these points over here, and press R for scale, and adjust it like so. Maybe this one here. Okay, let me go to wireframe mode. Okay, so we're looking good on this one. I'm going to select my mesh and delete my history to break the connection from the lattice. Okay, so from here we need the tiles. Okay, so let's create a simple tile. I'm gonna use a box. Okay, it's just gonna be a very simple low poly model. Okay, it doesn't need to be high poly. So let's say this one right here. Okay, just like that. Can scale it down. Let me see. Okay, I could scale it down. Maybe that one is okay. And I can go to modify, freeze transformation, and reset transformation. Okay, and I'm going to name this mesh as small tile 01, and I'm going to name this mesh as base roof 01. Okay. From here, I'm going to create another set of tiles. Okay, this guy's right here. This one is more like a circular type of tile, which I can grab polygon primitive, which is the pipe. Okay, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees on the X. I'm going to go to attribute editor, and I can change the radius to probably 1.5 and the thickness to 0.35. This, and let me select half of the face and delete it. Go to edge mode and just bridge the gap. Press G to repeat the command. Okay, and I'm gonna delete history, scale it down, and scale it on the Z axis. Okay, I think that's okay. We'll definitely, we can always come back to this one and adjust it when we apply the mesh. Okay, so we have that, and now I can center the pivot. I can freeze transformation and reset transformation. Okay. Next is we need to generate a curve from these mesh right here. Okay, to have this big frame over here. Okay, I'm looking at the bottom. This one right here. Okay, so what we can do is go to edge and select a side edge. Okay, double click right there. And we can go to modify, convert, and poly edges to curve. Okay, and it will give us a nice curve on the selected edge. Okay, we could delete history, and let me rename this guy pipe tile 01. Okay, and last mesh that we wanted is a simple box. Okay, but what we want to do with this box is select the side edges, just the side edges, and shift right click, go bevel edge. Just give it a nice bevel, just like that. Okay. From here, you can scale it down, not too big. I think this is okay with the size. Let me scale it up just a little bit. Okay. And from here, now we can freeze transformation and reset transformation. Okay, we have to freeze and reset the transformation in order for this effect to work. And I'm going to name this one just thick edge border. Okay, just going to name it thick edge border. So from here, the next thing that we need to do is we need to assign a mesh node to some of these meshes. So we start with our small tile. Okay, so let me hide the pipe tile first and hide our thick edge border so we don't confuse it. Okay, I'm going to select my small tile, make sure that our history is deleted, modify, freeze transformation, reset transformation. And while the tile is selected, I'm going to select the mesh over here, this icon right here, select it, and I'm going to bring up the mesh editor. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go to my mesh distribute, and under the distribution type, I'm going to select mesh. Okay, and from there I can select my base roof is 01. Okay, but what you can do is you don't left click the base roof 01, or else your mesh interface will disappear. So we could select our mesh 1 distribute, and it will bring up our mesh distribute interface, and just middle mouse click and drag it into the input mesh. And once you do that, you could see some of the mesh that are scattered all over the surface, but the axis is in a wrong direction, so we have to reorient the tiles to the surface. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to change the method to face center. Okay, and you will see that they lined up in a uniformly way. From there, I'm going to click flood mesh. Okay, and it generates a point mesh on every faces. Okay, so, and our main tile disappears. It's automatically hidden. So what we can do is we could select back our small tile in the outliner and press Shift H to bring it back. Okay, and we can start rotating it. Okay, we could, I'm going to press J, just rotate it on the direction that you wanted. And from here, we can raise it up just a little bit, you know, to have that tile effect. And let's see if our tiles are closely together. So we can also even adjust the scale if you wanted to. Okay, something like that. And I'm happy with this one. It's looking good. And now I can hide my, I can select my tile and press Ctrl H to hide it back. Okay, so now we have the small tiles. Let's do the bigger tiles. Okay, but before that, let me select our base roof. Okay, and I'm going to isolate it. and I'm going to select few faces. Okay. And you will see why in a minute why I'm doing this. And I will also explain why I did this. Okay. From here, I can go to, I can close now my mesh editor. I can go to my edit mesh and I can duplicate. Okay. Once I duplicated it, I need to select back the mesh and I'm going to delete the history. Okay. And I can go back outside of isolation and I will have a duplicated poly surfaces. If you isolate it, this is how it looks like. Okay. So I wanted it to be separate from the group, so I can just middle mouse it and drag it outside like this. Okay. So now it's not part of the group anymore. Okay. And I'm gonna rename them. Okay. I'm gonna rename this guys right here. Let me see. I'm just gonna do poly. Okay. How do we name this one? I'm just gonna go base roof line 01. Okay. I'm gonna give it a different name, and I'm gonna go baseline 2, base roof line 3, base roof line 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So we have all those. So let's select it again and look at it, see if it's still there. Okay, it's still there. Now what we can do is we need to unhide the pipe tile. Okay, Shift H, and I'm gonna duplicate this one 7 times as well. Okay, so I'm gonna press Control D, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and I can select them all. Okay, I'm just gonna middle mouse it and drag it over here so that they're all lined up. I can even put them near the baseline roof, the base roof line. Okay, so the numbers needs to correspond together. Okay, so I have this, and I will explain why I did this. Instead of combining this particular group of mesh into one, I separated them, because if you combine them and add a mesh tool, it will be hard to give a specific axis rotation on every group of pipe tiles. Okay, so you will see what I mean. So I'm going to select pipe tile 1. Okay, I'm going to create a mesh. Okay, and under distribution type, I'm going to select mesh. Okay, and pipe tile 1 should be on base roof line 1, so I'm going to middle mouse, click and drag to input mesh. Okay, and then we see it over here. Okay, let me turn on my wireframe, and I'm going to select face center and click flood. Okay, so now I can select my pipe tile 1 again and just reorient it. This is the reason why I separated them. Okay, this one right here. I believe I messed up. I didn't I forgot to freeze transformation and reset transformation. So let me delete back this mesh. Okay, I'm just gonna delete it, and I'm going to unhide the pipe tile. Okay, and let me delete that one, and I'm going to just duplicate this guy right here. Sorry, I messed up. Okay, and from here I need to modify. I'm gonna freeze transformation. Okay, select G, 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 G. Even the baselines, okay, I have to go all over again, and I'm going to reset transformation just to make sure that, okay, so now we have that. Now I can select my pipe tile one back again, go to my mesh, distribution type mesh. Okay, pipe tile 1 corresponds with base roof line 1, middle mouse click and drag, and method face center, click flood mesh. Okay, and now when you reorient it, so now it's way better than the last time. Okay. Okay, so we have that. Then we'll do it again on all of these tiles right here. Select mesh, distribution type mesh, and base roof line 02. We dragged it, face center, flood mesh, select back your pipe tile 02, and just rotate it accordingly. Like this. This one looks okay. All right, and we'll do it on all of the pipes, and I'll probably fast forward this one. So 3, face center flood. If you don't separate them like this, it will be very hard to control them. But if you guys have another way of doing it, I would love to know, and you guys can comment below if you guys have another way. I'm not an expert in mesh, and you guys can definitely tell me if you have any other ways to do this. So pipeline tile, mesh, base roof line 4, face center, flood mesh, line it up. And it's gonna be a little bit repetitive. We are on number 5, so just middle mouse drag, face center, flood mesh, have this. 2 more to go. This is number 6. So base roof line 6, face center, flood mesh, select pipe tile 6, reorient, one more, mesh, base roof line 7, face center, flood mesh, and we could rotate it like so. All right, and we are done with this one right here, and we can hide all these. Okay, Control H. We can even hide our base rooftop if you wanted to. Okay, let's just hide that one. You know what? I'm just gonna bring it back. Okay. So with that, the last thing we need to do is our thick edge border. Okay. So I'm gonna unhide it, and I'm gonna select my poly to curve. Okay. And I'm going to isolate them. Okay. And from here, I'm going to use my modify snap together tool. Okay, select that one, select the face, and select the tip, and press enter. This is one of the best tools that Maya ever created. I like this one. So you can center the pivot, okay, and it doesn't need to be accurate. You just need to position it at the center, or if you want, you could snap it to curve if you wanted to, but I just eyeball it. Okay, and I'm going to shift right click the object, and I'm going to select object local axis. Okay, right there. So when I press rotate, now my rotation will be on a local axis mode. It's not going to be on the world mode. Excuse me. And I'm going to specifically rotate my geometry based on the curve. Okay. Even on the transform. Make sure that it's oriented. It doesn't need to be accurate, but if you can, that would be awesome. Okay, so this one looks okay. Now, once we have this, now I can go and freeze my transformation. Okay, I'm gonna right click, go face, select this face, shift select the edge. Okay, go edit mesh, extrude. Okay, and from here it'll give you a very low poly, and all you need to do is go to the divisions and just type 20. Okay, and that looks really nice. Okay, I'm gonna exit to object mode and exit isolation mode, and from here I can even delete history on the thick edge border, so it disconnects to the poly curve. And I'm going to raise this thing up just a little bit, just adjust it like so, something like that. Okay, so we have this, and I think we're good on that one. Let me select my small tile again, and let me adjust the overall, I think the overall thickness with this guy is over here. Okay, let me just adjust it a little bit, and I'm gonna hide the base roof. So Control H, okay, to hide that. And we're looking good in this one. If you want, you could edit this one as well. You could use the multi-cut tool to grow different edges like that. If you want, just Control E to at least like make a pattern. Control E, Control E, maybe do an offset, a little thickness. Control E again, something like that. Just make a simple pattern, okay? And then delete history to do that. Okay, so once we have this, now we can, let me hide the curve first, okay? So I can select all of these. Okay, I can select all of that, but first we need to disconnect them from the mesh tool, okay? So I'm gonna select this guy and I'm gonna go to edit, delete by type, history, okay? You select the other guy, press G, just delete the history because we don't need the mesh anymore. So we can select all these mesh and just delete them, okay? So now I can select all these groups and I can Control G to group them, okay? And make sure that they are on the center of the grid. Okay, just to make for safety, I just need to freeze the transformation, reset transformation. Okay, so now if I'm gonna go to my channel box and I'm gonna press Control D, press E for rotation, and press J to 15 degrees increment, I will get a 60 degrees rotation to the Y. Okay, so if you do this and you shift D, that's okay, but it will generate a copy of your group, which is not what we wanted. So what I wanted to do is when I duplicate it, I wanted it to be an instance. So whatever I do with this one right here, everything follows. Okay, so now that we have a value of rotate Y to 60, I can now go to my edit, duplicate special, option box, and I'm going to select instance. Okay, first we need to reset settings, okay, just to make sure everything goes back to its original value, and select instance. Rotation will be on the Y. This is X, Y, Z. So I'm going to go to X. I'm going to add 60. And I need six number of copies. Okay. And duplicate special. And now we have a duplicated instance copy of the group. So the advantage that we have here is when you select this group, okay, and you go to deform, let's say you want a lattice, okay, let's add a lattice, okay, just like that. I'm going to set the T divisions to 2 and S divisions to 4, okay, maybe 6, okay, 6 is okay. From here, now everything turns purple. That means they are all connected. I'm going to right click, go to lattice point. I'm going to select these points right here. Okay. And I'm going to press R and just scale them up to the side for these tiles to meet. Okay. And I'm also going to select this tile right here, just move it like that. Okay, so easy breezy. I can even mimic the curve over here that's happening. Okay, so what I can do is I can select these group of lattice point on the edge, press W, just pull it up, okay, and I can shift select these other group, and press up. Okay, so it's a really cool effect if you have an instance, okay, an instanced geometry. So from here, once you're done, you can always go to group 1 and just delete history, and it will delete the connection from the lattice point. Okay, so it's looking good so far. And just for finishing touches, you can add this thing on top. It's very easy. All you need to do is you can grab a curve, a CV curve, and just we can even, instead of cubic, I'm gonna use linear. Okay, and I'm just gonna go like this. Doesn't need to be accurate. Because we're going to be smoothing this one anyway. Okay, we're going to go smooth preview with this one. Press enter, and I'm going to go to modify, center the pivot, press D, and hold V to snap it to the vert. Press D back and modify freeze transformation. Okay, so we have a curve over here, and now we can go to surfaces, revolve option box. Make sure that you choose polygons. Okay, polygons, and let's reset the settings, and I'm going to choose polygons, quads, and general. Okay, I'm going to choose general, and it will give me this number U and number V. So I'm just going to choose the default number and press revolve, okay, which will give me this. So from here, I'm going to go to my channel box and select a NURBS tessellate 1. And I'm going to play around with the values of U number and V number. So V number, I can add probably 20. Okay. And U number, let's try 10. 10 is okay. Is it? Let me see. Maybe 15 is better. Okay, let's just add 12. So with that, you can select it. Control delete history, and I can go to modify, center the pivot, and just bring it down over here, scale it up however you want. It's not even on the center, so I'm just gonna eyeball it. So that, just eyeball this one. Just like that, and you can press D and B to change the call it that, press 3, and voila. Okay, delete the curve, we don't need it anymore, and then you can do the rest, okay, of this one. These are easy patterns right here. So that's how you make a Chinese gondola with easy steps using mesh, extrude using curves, and lattice point and bend deformers. Okay, so I hope you learn something from here, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and see you on the next tutorial. Bye bye.